Hi, I'm Brian with Pioneer Builders. Welcome to the Build Show. This is going to be a short video where we talk about where to butt our drywall joints. Let's take a look. Whatever you do, don't tell Lydia about this video. I don't want her to get mad at me for talking about drywall. But one thing that can absorb tons of time is drywall callbacks. So you want to plan ahead when it comes to your drywall hanging so that you don't have any of your butt joints over structure. So as an example, this is a column 6x6. Depending on how the layout works, it would be possible that you would have a butt joint land on this. Now, this is going to expand and contract, but at the beginning of construction, typically it will have a higher moisture content than at the end. Equilibrium moisture content. The house will dry out eventually, but what can happen is if you have a butt joint and your tape isn't strong enough, maybe there's other parameters, ask Lydia, she would know, your butt joint can start to separate and then you get a crack. Depending on where it is, you can repair it a bunch of times and it just never works out properly. The other problem with repairing is it's almost impossible to get it to match. Not only the actual repair, but the paint itself, it is just a pain in the neck. So what's the alternative? Span your drywall over a structural member. In this case, you might end up with a butt joint here. You might even be able to get away with it here or here. But staggering those joints will lead to less callbacks in the future. Now, we happen to be standing underneath the structural member. It's the same thing up here. You do not want to have a joint on this particular member, so you want to have your butt joints staggering on one side or the other. Now, you can talk to the owner of the drywall company, but there is nothing quite like actually talking to the hangers when you're on site. Communication is key. You might take a look beforehand, see where your 12-foot sheet breaks. Actually, this way, the sheets are going to run this direction. So you'd have to probably be paying attention to the long way where it comes in there. One more structural member to think about, and this is just going to be very similar to what you would do with a window. This is a structural header. The reason for that, you can watch the other videos on a garage series that we did. This is actually garage over this living space. You do not want to have a seam in this area. So you want to have your drywall come up and over and butt somewhere in there. And that way, when there's differential movement, you won't have a problem. One thing too, note that this is a solid sawn piece of header. It's probably going to shrink more than if it was an engineered piece of lumber. The beam that we saw earlier was an engineered piece of lumber. It's probably not going to move as much. But just a couple of tricks. Nothing structural when you get those cracks, but it is just a nuisance. It's a nuisance as the builder, and it's a nuisance for the drywall taper. It's a nuisance for the homeowner. Think ahead, you won't have as many problems. Well, thanks for watching. Follow me on social at Pioneer Builders Inc. We'll see you next time.